So you see, this type of rewarding is to keep his focus on the target. Okay, that's why I don't reward on me. But I also reward on me, and I also do external rewarding because if later I want to use my dog, also with the beetles, I don't throw the ball on the beetle, obviously. Yeah? So I call him back and I reward back. But I keep a high rate of successes in training in order to not, in order that he doesn't find something and depends back on me. And then you will ask why it's so important. Because when the dog is searching something so small, and he indicates by laying down here, I don't know where it is exactly. Okay, so this means I have to take everything out. So the more focused the dog is, the easier it is for me to know where exactly is the center I'm putting it. So imagine now, even this kind of rubbing can make the dog pay more attention there, that there is no actual big piece. Yes? And now I can do this. So you see now, until he really is close, he cannot find it. Why? Because the molecules, they don't travel. Sorry. Yes, okay. Okay, so ideally I would make a little bit more preparation, a little bit more warm-up, and also a little bit better closure, but in the other hand, I don't want to depend all the time on this kind of procedure. So I prepare my dogs to stand, a little bit more harsh environments and so on and so on. So the applications. Dogs can be applied in so many things. So we have the civil protection. This goes to army and police dogs for patrol work. Like in demonstrations, like tracking dogs for criminal cases, or it can be tracking fugitives and so on and so on. Now I'm talking only about the sniffing and not other types of work. Sorry, law enforcement was that. The civil protection is also the search and rescue for when a person is lost in the woods, when there is a collapse, when we have floods. Also, when someone is deceased, so the cadaver search. Also, Kalisi, this dog is trained for avalanche, even we don't have avalanches in Greece, but she's trained for that. Yes. So we have the biodetection, like the detection of cells that are infected with cancer cells. Some service dogs that they alert when the blood sugar is changing. Even with the COVID, there are some projects of dogs detecting COVID. Yeah, exactly. In conservation, there are limited applications. Like some extreme ones is that they can detect. They use them actually for species detection of orcas. They use it for underwater mussels. They use it for beetles. They use it really for almost everything that needs to be found. Of course, there's a how to say? There is what to say. Limitation. Yes, thank you. There is a limitation in terms of if the object that we are setting is reachable. So, for example, a nest on the tree, but on the tree it's a little bit difficult. There are some ways, but I don't think they really work. But yes, it has to be in a way that the dog can actually have a result for his training and also for you. Also in archaeology, so they use the type of cadaver dogs to detect ancient bones in Croatia. Yes. So I think it's in Croatia. Yes. Of course, hunting, all kinds of prey. Pest control, so for bed bugs, and actually this is a big thing also in the US, for hotels that they need to be checked for bed bugs. Also mold in houses, termites. These are applied things already. I mean, of course, in dog sports, so we use sniffing dogs for dog sports like monitoring, tracking dogs, competition anyway, and of course fun. So all of these a dog can be trained for, but just knowing something to be able to actually use this dog in a project, there is a big distance. So it's very nice to have dogs, and we have a lot of dogs doing things for science or for civil protection and so on. But we really have to be aware about our capabilities, our dogs' capabilities, and of course social media. I also use social media, and of course we also are best selves in social media. But this is my thing, that when it comes to real work or a real project, you really have to be honest about your offering. And I think there is some kind of gap in this at the moment in conservation work. So yeah, they are actually like, let's say, hero dogs. And even if their capability is extreme, we still have to remember they are animals. And even if we reach very long distance with them, training-wise and result-wise, there are actual limitations. And we have to really take care of them, also for the dog welfare, but also for us to be able to use the same dog and again in a viable way. Yes. That's the general presentation. Thank you very much. And I would like to... It was a little bit on...
Can I ask something?
Yes.
Do you think that you must, to do a job with a dog, that you must be just a handler or be a trainer?
Okay. I thought you would ask if you have to be a researcher also, which is also an expression.
No,
I didn't myself.
It's other
Yes.
things.
So actually, handler, trainer, the difference for the dog, I mean, he doesn't put any labels. He doesn't care. He says, here's Theodoris, he treats me well, he shows me correct.
Not for the dog, to do your job right.
It doesn't matter, because there are, I mean, what is trainer, what is handler? Because even the handler is trained to do some things with the dog. Normally, in my logic, is that the trainer is the one who is able to teach a system to a dog. But there are so many trainers that they are professionals, but they are not able to teach a system to the dog because of lack of knowledge and so on. And on the other hand, there are handlers that they don't do it professionally, that they are really good in dog training. So that's why the term of trainer and handler is a little bit far. A little bit more practical though, you can get a dog that is already trained in a system, and then after some help from the trainer, you can preserve this training. So then you are becoming a handler. So you're not able to actually train a balanced dog if you don't have a long experience. But then if you have a trained dog that he already knows the system, he is able to actually accept some mistakes from handling. Of course, there is a threshold that under this, the dog will start to drop. I don't know if I answered. Yes.
So I was curious about what you mentioned this morning about multiple, so a dog trained, I can get it trained on multiple scents, or target odors in the same environment? Do you find that decreases the efficiency or target success in one of the two or not? I mean, what's your take?
So the thing is, the rule is the more criteria, the more possibilities of failures. So, like with us, if we only focus on one thing, we become the best in it. But then when we are more generalists, then we know a little bit of everything. So the same with the dog. If he has to, when he's doing something, he has to focus. He is adding more and more and more criteria. Then this will, first of all, will make him tired faster. When the dog is tired, then his choices are getting to be a little bit cloudy. And then mistakes happen. So, yeah, they have the capabilities of detecting a lot of scents, but then depending on if these scents are, they have a conflict, because they are in the same habitat, for example. Let's say, for example, with Milou, we started with the wolf, and then we added jackal, because we actually didn't care, because we wanted both scat, and then we added also the lynx. So the lynx was the last scat we introduced to the dog. Because, of course, the dog had some experience before, so the lynx, the new odor was easier, so she jumped into it much faster and more excited and so on. But I think it was also because of the difference of the animal. So I think because of it was the feline, the dog was much more excited than the scat of the wolf and the jackal. Plus, with the lynx scat, it was the only scat that she tried sometimes to lick it and to taste it. While with the Canis, she never did that. Yes, so if, for example, our habitat is like that, and I want really to use my dog for wolf scat in a lynx habitat, then the dog will start having a preference. And this is the problem. So you have to consider before you introduce a new scent, how you want to use the dog actually. You can use it with different commands, but then you have to consider a command as a release of, how to say it actually? A release of anticipation of something. So this means if the dog is anticipating in some various things, the focus is more there than the actual command. So the dog is a little bit struggling separating commands. Especially, this is the main problem, when the dog is in a relaxed state, then it's easy. So you can, if you just have to teach to the dog to bring you 1 million stuff, it's not so difficult, retrieving. But then if you want the dog to search for 3 hours, then this means that the dog has to have a huge passion about what he's searching. And when he is, in this tension, putting like this kind of brain function is not very easy. So then mistakes start to happen. I don't know if I answer. I hope.
You mentioned about detection of dead carcasses.
Yes.
Do you mean dead carcasses in wind farms, or what's the purpose?
Yes, for wind farms.
And the second question, you show us the breeds which are not extremely specialized, let's say. What about using the breeds, for example, pointers, to point?
Yes. So like I said, the hunting breed, or even worse, the tracking breeds, one of the biggest problems we have is that most of the breeds at least, they are bred in a way that they really make a tunnel vision on the scent, and they really fight until they find it. These dogs, because normally they are used for prey that is a little bit harsh, or they are hard in harsh environments, or their behavior is harsh, like hares, like boar and so on, we cannot have soft dogs there. Soft, I mean by being sensitive with the environment and also with humans. And that's why these kind of dogs normally they are very difficult to control, or they are very difficult to have them as pets and so on. In the other side, the gun dogs, because they are hunting birds, for example, and the whole work is much, I'm not a hunter, from the things I observed that I talked to hunters, but because the work there is much more delicate, so the dog cannot jump on the prey, and he has to retrieve, so there are many more criteria. Then these dogs evolved through breeding to be more sensitive with the collaboration with humans. And that's why we are able to put them in work for these things, parallel by handling their intention of, let's say, hunting a fox or hunting a bird or whatever. Yeah. So that's why we pick breeds that they can mentally accept this work.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, first, I wanted to thank you for this great presentation. I've heard many explanations of this complex system, but this definitely was the best one to explain easily. Yeah. And I wanted to ask if you, especially in this area, if you get a feedback of the findings in the actual field work by, for example, genetic results or like only genetic results, because
to know
I
if
don't doubt
what
your
is
work,
what.
but there can be a big difference between the training that the dog can do perfectly and the actual field work.
Yes.
And if there's at least one mistake that you reward or deal with it in the wrong way, you will have bad results in the future every time.
Good question. So my work at the moment is to collect scat. So I collect the scat, I don't analyze them, I don't have the background for that. So Theodoris and some of the team doing that. So I'm not sure if I've done already some DNA yet. I also it's only 1 year of this project, so already many things need to, to evolve.
For the next year.
Yes, yes. Yes. In terms of training now, 1 or 2 mistakes is not a big deal. So I personally try to avoid this kind of mistakes by having a lot of samples from scat that they are pretty good for JACKAL. But then of course there is if you don't do genetics, you are never 100% sure that it's,
I was just thinking of some examples where at least one false indication being rewarded
yes.
will cause behavior where the dog will
If you ask
indicate the species
me,
again.
yeah. So if you ask me, the problem was not this one reward. So the problem normally, so as I said, in general for dog behavior, it's very rare, from my experience, that one incident destroys a dog behavior or character.
It's a training
So
thing.
normally, the incident comes and lands on a background that is already a little bit problematic or unstable. So then, yes, of course, it can happen. So like the same, if you, because the clients of mine, they come and they say, my dog is aggressive because my neighbor kicked him. No, you cannot get aggression from one kick. Okay? So there's a background, of course, something that shocked the animal expressed much more intensively the behavior, but there was a background for that, normally. So I don't really agree that one reward or two can destroy the training.
Yes, because of course if you keep training,
course.
it's not one, the training is not stopped.
Yes.
I know.
Yeah.
As you just said, I think
Yes.
it's up to the hand and
Yes.
the training process.
Yes.
Yeah.
And of course, yes.
Okay, next question.
Yes.
Purpose for finding carcass is under because I know it's a bad habit. The owner of the windmill is a big dog, the height. The carcass is very high. What is purpose you are training this?
Okay,
You want
so-
to see damages or
The purpose, okay. So, yeah, because I'm part of some project that do service about after the construction of the wind
the
turbines.
monitoring team goes only 1 day per week. And
It depends on the
that day there is nothing because it's cleaning by detection dog.
Sorry, I didn't get it.
The monitoring
Sorry.
team for windmill
Yes.
are going usually only 1 day per week.
Mhm.
To check if it's a mortality of bird
Okay.
and so on.
Mhm.
The detection dog is usually usually the height, the mortality. And the monitoring
Can I ask,
four. Yeah.
can I ask where is that, what project are you talking about?
There's
Is
no
it
problem,
here?
this is just a habit of the
Or
windmill.
project?
Because in many migration area, there's a lot of windmill, a lot of mortality. And one of the bad habits is to use detection dog to
Height, so the dog is hiding the...
No, they bring the bird, dead bird,
For training, you mean?
not for training, just to prove that there is no impact of windmill on the
Okay, but this doesn't have to do with training, it has to do with physics.
Criminal behavior.
Right? I mean, this is what you mean. But this is what I said before. The problem with detection dogs is the same problem when I go out finding scat, and then I find some scat here and I put it in a place that I want the scat to be found. So it's not about the methodology, it's actually about the ethics of the researcher, if you ask this.
I thought it's an asked question.
Yes, it's a nice one. So for the wind farms, normally, practically, some of them they are very clear under the wind turbine, so it's easy to detect. But then the bats are landing very often far from the clean area. And also in Greece, at least, we have many wind farms that the grass is high. So especially in spring, it's not very easy to detect them. That's why I train them at least. I hope I
My question is that in the future, we have planned to train anti-poison dogs, and how is the situation with poisoning in the area?
We have a lot of poison.
I can answer you.
Yes. Yes.
But of course, so this is
So that's the short answer. I studied the dog for poisoning, but then personally I was more interested in the wildlife. But they work with some anti-poisoning units, so she can. So we have some tips around Greece for anti-poisoning.
The government poison unit.
Yes.
So she's more.
To answer now, no. I can answer if you want after because.
Finish? Okay, if you have any other questions, privately you can ask me whatever you like. So, thank you very much.